In the movie The Matrix, Neo, the protagonist, is given the choice of either eating the blue pill and continuing to live a life of illusion without knowing the absolute truth, or the red pill, which would grant the knowledge of everything there was to know. Neo chooses the red pill and learns that his whole life he has been living in a simulation, and that he is now experiencing true reality. Of course, this is all just fiction, but what if there was a way to figure out if we were actually living in a simulation using our current technology and without the absurd conundrum of choosing between two pills? It turns out there might be a way to determine the likelihood of living in a simulation and whether or not we can create one ourselves. So how do we go about creating simulation? First, it is vital that we learn how to create an accurate model of our universe. What is our universe made out of? Atoms. The entire universe and everything contained within it involves atoms, and the effects of them bumping into each other. This means that the possibility of producing a model slightly larger than the nucleus of an atom means that simulations of a larger scale could be made. The current trends and computational requirements for these simulations motivate the possibility of creating an accurate simulation of our universe. These simulations are currently being performed in scaled-down, extremely small universes run in a supercomputer, where the space-time continuum is replaced by a virtual lattice, allowing the universe to be modeled. These simulations are leading to new insights into the nature of matter, and they're improving in terms of accuracy and size. Within the next decade, if the anticipated improvement of computation continues, it's possible that using our simulations, non-accessible laboratory experiments will become accessible within the simulation, including extreme environments or exotic forms of matter. It stands to reason that future simulation efforts will continue to extend to larger volumes of space-time with less scaling down, eventually leading to an accurate simulation of our universe. This provides more of a purpose to these simulations, allowing humanity to systematically explore the universe without needing to endanger ourselves. The possibility of creating a simulation 100% accurate to our universe has led to the logical question of whether the universe we currently inhabit is a numerical simulation performed by our future selves. In our simulations, the spacetime continuum is replaced by a lattice, allowing the universe to be modeled and more easily attainable. This would mean that if we were to discover our simulations, we would have to reveal a lattice. Any simulation by its nature would not be infinite, it would be constrained. The way to determine whether a constraint is present is to use and study high-energy cosmic rays. If the rays travel in a straight line, which they should in the natural world, then it would indicate that we are not living in a simulation, as the real universe wouldn't be numerically constrained. On the other hand, if the rays break diagonally, or diverge from any normal behavior, it most likely points to a manufactured universe. One of the largest issues with understanding life in simulations is that we can only assume that we are in a simulation. We can't actually be certain if we are in one. Still, in order for humanity to progress, we have to accept our constant uncertainty. Because of this uncertainty, we can never really know if we've left the simulation. Therefore, it's impossible to know if we've discovered the simulation creators. Even if we thought we left the simulated world, that scenario in itself could be simulated. However, if we were really in a simulation, wouldn't the different tests conducted by these simulations, like extreme environments, socioeconomic strategies, etc., be conducted by our simulators in our universe? What if COVID-19 was planted in by our simulators? As we begin to create simulations accurate to our universe, we might eventually be effectively creating consciousness for all the beings in the simulation. This would lead to the obvious question of whether it would be ethical to create a simulation and use it to test different scenarios that would not be safe in our current world. Life would be equally as important, and subjecting all of these life forms to suffering would certainly be unethical. However, if we weren't going to use our simulations for these efforts and scenarios, then it would have almost no meaning or purpose to it. And even if this wasn't an ethical concern, the risk of creating something that could do so many powerful things could be extremely dangerous if it landed in the wrong hands. There are still plenty of other types of simulations that could be feasible, like interactive simulations, where consciousness is uploaded into a simulation, but the theory is also faced with problems including identity loss and tracking the transfer of consciousness. By reconstructing life forms inside simulations, would their consciousness stay with them? An interactive simulation could also coincidentally be what we are living in, like the Matrix. The ethical dilemma is immense. So, if technology continues to improve at the rate it does, we will most certainly be able to simulate better and more accurate models of our universe. The possibility of simulating these universes on a lattice motivates the scenario that we could be living inside a universe with a lattice, which could be revealed by rotating high-energy cosmic rays. There is a wide range of inventions that could change humanity drastically, but what sets the simulation scenario apart are the implications derived from the possibility of its existence. For once, the question isn't what will technology do to better our lives, it's rather, how can technology be used to discover the meaning of life? If we are in a simulation, then there's a reason why we've been simulated, which could provide meaning to our existence. Entering another plane of existence is thought to be logistically impossible for as long as humanity has existed, but so are the ideas of crossing the ocean, flying to the moon, talking to someone across the planet, and so many other revolutionary inventions. However, out of all of these, universal simulation seems like the most extraordinary. All of this is probably impossible to prove with certainty, but if uncertainty is permanent, then impossibility does not exist. If nothing is impossible, then everything is possible. Simulation can put the universe in our pockets. If we use this opportunity effectively, we can hold the key to solve any problem known to humanity. This is more magnificent than time travel, more outstanding than teleportation. The fact that we are even remotely close to creating simulation is the most captivating idea I've ever known.